Should we start quick revision of ECB, external commercial borrowing? Should we start what we have finished in ECB, external commercial borrowing yesterday, students? What we have finished? We have finished like when it comes to ECB, ECB is nothing more than an external commercial borrowing. That is a loan that has been taken up from overseas, right? If any business entity that has been located over here in India is planning to raise funds from outside India, they can either raise equity investment or they may raise debt investment, right? If they are raising equity investment, that will be classified as a foreign direct investment. If they are raising debt investment, pure debt investment, which is not going to be convertible into equity, it will be an external commercial borrowing, right? When it comes to external commercial borrowing, if you're taking a loan from outside India, it is going to create a kind of long-term liability against you, right? As it will lead to create a long-term liability outside India for a person resident in India, it is going to be classified as a capital account transaction. And being a capital account transaction, it is going to be regulated by Section 6 of FEMA, and RBI would have all the authority to determine what all matters need to be taken care if you are planning to take ECB, external commercial borrowing. So if being a person into business, I am planning to acquire ECB, the amount of ECB is going to be determined by RBI. The minimum maturity period is going to be determined by RBI. The all-in ceiling cost is going to be determined by RBI. The end use requirement is going to be determined by RBI, right? Even eligible borrower, whether I would be eligible to borrow or not, is going to be determined by RBI. Even recognized lender is going to be determined by RBI. So all the terms and condition of ECB, although you would be provided with certain kind of flexibility that based on your negotiation skill, that what kind of interest you have to pay, what would be your EMI or what would be your repayment terms, it is going to be mutually determined by the parties. But there are certain things for which the RBI is quite rigid. You cannot compromise on that terms, right? Like further we have studied about the recognized lender. When it comes to recognized lender, if you are willing to acquire ECB from outside India, remember you can take ECB only from a country. The country must be either a part of FATF or the country must be a part of IOSCO, right? Then only you are allowed to acquire ECB from them, right? If a country like Pakistan or some other country which is not a part of FATF or IOSCO, you cannot think about acquiring ECB from them, right? Other than that, you can acquire ECB from multilateral institution or regional financial institution located outside India. Even you can acquire ECB from any individual as well, but that concerned individual should be your equity shareholder. And one point yesterday a girl asked in my case, so I have mentioned that either he should be your equity shareholder or you have come out with the issue of listed debenture outside India. If you have come out with issue of listed debentures outside India, there is no need and necessity that the person who is buying your debenture should be your equity shareholder. Is it clear? So there are two cases. If the concerned person is an individual and you are an unlisted entity, in that case, you can take ECB only from an individual who is your equity shareholder, right? But if you are listed over there, and your securities are going to be listed after issue, then it can be bought by any individual. It is not necessary that he should be your equity shareholder. Is it clear, students? Other than that, even you can take ECB from any bank or public financial institution, which is an Indian bank or public financial institution, right? Whose branch is located or foreign branches there, right? Even foreign branch can extend ECB to you, right? Even foreign branch can extend ECB to you. But condition would be they can only extend ECB in foreign exchange, right? They can only extend ECB in foreign exchange, option number 1. Or if they could not manage to extend ECB to you, they can act as an arranger or a mediator or a broker by taking commission, and they'll arrange for ECB, right? Or if you're coming out with a public issue of debentures or bonds over there, they can even act as an underwriter, right? That was what? Recognized lender, right? Then after recognized lender, what we have done, students, we have done with eligible borrowers. So when it comes to eligible borrower is nothing more than the borrower who is permitted by Reserve Bank of India to borrow ECB from overseas, right? When it comes to eligible borrower, they are being classified into two parts. Those who can borrow in foreign exchange. Second, those who can borrow in Indian currency. Those who can borrow in foreign exchange include any person who is eligible to acquire FDI. If you're eligible to acquire FDI, you can also take ECB. The person includes port trust, right? The person includes any unit located in SEZ. It includes a bank known as SIDB over here in India. Even it includes Exim Bank, right? These are all the permissible borrowers, right? Other than permissible borrowers, or eligible borrowers, if you are willing to acquire ECB in Indian currency, if you are willing to acquire ECB in Indian currency, you can acquire. There is no problem on that. All those 6 persons or 5 persons are definitely eligible. 5 persons are definitely eligible for acquiring ECB in Indian currency. Other than that, even all entities, whether they are being registered as a trust, society, or NGO or NPO, if they are involved in microfinance activities, right, they are even entitled to acquire ECB in Indian currency, right? Done, students. So we have done with only 3 questions, I think, of ECB. And yesterday we have finished FEMA. Last time, what we'll do, last an hour, we'll go through with the quick review of FEMA, and then we'll go ahead with the past year papers of FEMA, right? As of now, we are going to focus on ECB. Is that clear, students? Should we proceed further? Now teaching you minimum average maturity period. What I'm teaching you, students, minimum average maturity period. I'm starting with minimum average maturity period. And when it comes to minimum average maturity period, if I'm taking a loan from Indian bank, is there any minimum maturity period for that loan? Definitely it is being determined by RBI, but generally a person can take a loan for 15 days as well, right? If I am in a necessity of cash, I'm facing cash crunch, can I approach a bank and ask for cash credit? Yes, they can extend me a cash credit, right? Right, students? If I'm taking loan from Indian bank, there is no requirement of having a rigid minimum maturity period, right? But if I'm taking ECB, right, external commercial borrowing, they are quite rigid in terms of minimum maturity period. Generally, when it comes to ECB, minimum maturity period should be 3 years. Yesterday we have studied, right? What would be the minimum maturity period? 3 years should be the minimum maturity period, right? Means you can acquire ECB for a period of 3 years, right? Further, they are saying that minimum average maturity period for ECB should be 3 years. Call and put options are not exercisable before MAMP completion. Beta, what is call and put option? What is call and put option? What is call and put option? Can you help me out with call and put option? You guys have done with CMSL. What is call and put options, Beta? Over here, when it comes to ECB, call and put option means nothing more than like, if I acquired the ECB and I am having money before the due date of maturity or due date of repayment of loan, can I pay it back to them? That is called what? That is called put option. That is called what? Put option. And call option is, can they call me that Rahul, you have to pay it immediately? That is called what? Call option. Got my point, students? Put and call option is what? Can they demand early payment? That is called a call option. Okay, then can I make an early payment? That is called put option. Got my point, students? What is put and call option? Can I make payment before the due date? That is called put option. can they demand for early payment, that is called call option. Is it clear? Got my point, student? Whenever we are talking about put and call option under CMSL, it is what, like if I'm buying a option contract, right? So option contract is generally having no maturity period. Any party can exercise put or call option, right? Put option will be exercised by the seller. Call option is going to be exercised by the buyer, right? Right, students? Here the put and call option means early payment. What put and call option is what, beta? Early payment. Means the maturity has not been over and I am having money and I am asking that can I make early payment? That is called what? Put option, right? They are asking that, Rahul, we are in dire need of fund, you have to make the immediate payment, that is called put option, right? So as the RBI is imposing a condition that minimum maturity period should be 3 years, RBI is imposing what, beta? Minimum maturity period is 3 years. So in that case, minimum maturity period should be 3 years. So can you exercise put or call option before 3 year? Answer would be no. Got my point, students? Is it clear? So do early payment of ECB is allowed? Yes. If you have taken loan for 5 years, right, you can exercise put and call option only on expiry of 3 years. Is it clear? Got my point, students? What is the minimum maturity period, beta? 3 years. So can you pay it before 3 years? No. If you have a clause in your loan contract that you may exercise put option or they may exercise call option, can they exercise call option or can I exercise put option before the expiry of 3 years? No. If I would do that, then it will be violation of ECB guidelines, right? Got my point, students? So can you get into a kind of loan contract where put or call option will be there? Answer would be yes, you can get into a contract, but no such clause can empower you that you can exercise put or call option even before the maturity period, minimum maturity period of 3 years. Getting my point, student? What I'm teaching you is minimum maturity period, MAMP, right? Minimum average maturity period. What should be the minimum average maturity period? 3 years. Means someone is asking me that, Rahul, if you need fund from overseas, my friend is calling me and he's saying that, Rahul, if you need funds, I am having some idle fund in my account and I'm willing to extend you as a loan. I'm not willing to give you as an equity. I'm not willing to invest equity in your business, but I am willing to give you a loan. So first of all, what I'll ask him that, yeah, if you are willing to make investment, right, in my business as an equity investment, being an individual, you should be my equity shareholder, right? Right, students? Right? Minimum one equity share should be there with you, then only I can take loan from you, right? So first of all, I have to give you certain equity, right? Second, if I'm taking the loan, don't think that I'm going to repay it back before 3 years, right? Because the minimum average maturity period is what? 3 years. Even if you will ask me to pay before, I cannot pay it before. You cannot exercise call option before expiry of 3 years. Got my point, students? Is it clear? So what is call and put option? Early payment is known as what? Call and put option, right? Now they are saying that for manufacturing companies, what? For manufacturing companies, what they are saying, beta, for manufacturing companies, if they are acquiring ECB, where the value of ECB is what, beta? 50 million US dollar per financial year, right? Manufacturing companies being provided with a concession that they can have minimum maturity period of 1 year. Means, can I say that manufacturing companies can acquire working capital from overseas, right? But non-manufacturing company cannot acquire working capital from overseas, right? Right, students? Am I right? Right? What they are saying that if the manufacturing company is willing to acquire what? ECB, they can acquire ECB having maturity period of up to 1 year, right? Minimum average maturity period of 1 year, but the value of ECB should not be more than 50 million US dollar, right? Right, students? Per financial year. Getting everything, students? Now, working capital, general corporate or rupee repayment, loan repayment by foreign equity holder is 5 years. ECB cannot be raised from foreign branches or subsidiaries of India. Now they are saying that if you are willing to acquire working capital loan, or if you are willing to acquire funds for general corporate purpose, or if you are making the repayment or to the foreign equity holder in rupee, okay, then minimum average maturity period should be 5 years. What I'm teaching you is minimum average maturity period. Generally, the ECB ka minimum average maturity period should be 3 years. If you are willing to take a loan from overseas, you can take a loan where the maturity period should not be less than 3 years. You can put and call option over the loan agreement, but put and call option can only be exercisable after expiry of 3 years, right? The second clause, right? Third clause, they are saying that if you are a manufacturing company, if you are a manufacturing company and you are taking a loan where the value of the loan is per financial year 50 million US dollar, then in that case minimum average maturity period will be 1 year, right? Further, they are saying that if you are acquiring rupee repayable loan from foreign equity holder, you are acquiring what? Rupee repayable means you need not to pay it in foreign exchange, you can repay it in Indian rupees, right? And you are taking the loan from foreign equity holder, means your equity shareholder, right? And the purpose of taking loan is working capital, general corporate purpose, right? So in that case, the minimum average maturity period should be minimum 5 years. Is it clear? Got my point, students? What I'm teaching you is minimum average maturity. Means, can I say that RBI has not given me a flexibility that I can determine any period of loan when it comes to taking loan from overseas. I have to follow certain minimum maturity period, right? I cannot take, even they are willing to support me with short-term loans, I cannot take short-term loan from them because RBI has put a regulation that minimum average maturity period should be 1 year, 3 year or 5 year. Getting my point, students? Is it clear? What I'm teaching you is minimum average maturity period. Now they are saying that if you are taking rupee repayable loan for non-capital expenditure, for what beta? Non-capital expenditure like general corporate purpose, working capital or rupee repayment, loan repayment, okay, but it will be for non-capital expenditure, then minimum average maturity period should be 10 years. See, now you may get confused. See, if you are taking a loan from foreign equity holder, the minimum average maturity period should be 5. If you are taking loan from non-equity holder, minimum average maturity period should be 10. Is that clear? Got my point, students? So repeating. If you are taking a loan from overseas, that is totally allowed. Even personal loans are allowed. Even commercial loans are allowed, right? If you are taking personal loan, it is not going to be regulated by ECB guidelines. It is going to be regulated by FEMA, right? But if you are taking a commercial loan, it is going to be regulated by ECB guideline. You would have no flexibility. You would have no flexibility to determine your own maturity period, right? You can increase the maturity period, but you cannot decrease the maturity period, right? You have to follow minimum average maturity period norms, right? Now, what would be the minimum average maturity period norm? Would be generally 3 years, right? You can put and call option over that, but put and call option can only be exercised after 3 years, right? Or after minimum average mature. If you are a manufacturing company and you are willing to take a loan from outside, you can take having a minimum average maturity period of 1 year, but your loan value should not be more than 50 million US dollar per annum. Now, if you are having three things, if you want to take loan for working capital purpose, general corporate purpose, or you are using the loan to repay the Indian loans, okay, you are using the loan for repaying the Indian loans, or the loan is going to be payable in Indian rupees, right? Then if you are taking it from foreign equity holder, the period will be 5 years. If you are taking it from non-equity holder, the minimum average maturity period should be 10 years. Got my point, students? What I'm teaching you is minimum average maturity. No section is there. Everywhere what you can mention is section 6 of FEMA, because institute is going to ask single question from ECB, right? And if you guys will put section 6, it will be right section, right? For because every norm related with ECB is regulated by section 6 of FEMA, right? Right, students? Further, they are saying that rupee loan repayment for capital expenditure. Okay, rupee loan, which is you are repaying the rupee loan which is related with capital expenditure. Minimum average maturity period should be 7 years. So yeah, if you are taking a loan, you can use the loan for two purposes, right? If I am taking a loan, suppose I am taking a loan from a bank as a personal loan, I can take home loan for building my home, right? I can take vehicle loan to purchase a vehicle, right? I can take personal loan to meet out my day-to-day expenditure, right? Right, students, what I'm teaching last bench. You're sleeping in the class, yeah. Is it clear? So if I'm taking loan, even I'm taking a personal loan, right? I can use that loan to build my own home. Can I say that I took a loan for capital expenditure? Can I say that? Can I say that if my business is taking a loan to buy a new building or for for having a new branch office, can I say that I have taken a loan for capital expenditure? Can I say that if by using the loan I'm going to build an asset, that will be a capital expenditure loan, right? If by taking a loan I'm going to meet out the routine expenditure, that will be a working capital loan, right? Right, students? If I'm taking loan for meeting out day-to-day expenditure, that will be a working capital loan, right? If I am going to use this loan for building an asset, that will be a capital expenditure loan, right? What is capital expenditure? If you're spending something to build a asset, that is called a capital expenditure. If you are using some fund for meeting out your day-to-day requirement, that is called revenue expenditure, right? Right, students? So if I took a loan to repay my capital expenditure loan over here in India, then minimum average maturity period should be 7 years, right? So how many years are there when it comes to ordinary ECB? The minimum average maturity period should be 3 years. If it is being taken by the manufacturing company, the minimum average maturity period should be 1 year, but the value of loan should not be more than 50 million. If it is more than 50 million, the minimum average maturity period should be, if nothing has been provided, 3 years, right? The another thing is, if we are taking from foreign equity holder, right, for general corporate purpose, working capital purpose, or repaying the Indian rupee loan, then the minimum average maturity period would be 5 years. Otherwise, it would be 10 years. And if I'm going to use that fund for repaying the capital expenditure related loan, means I took a loan from Indian bank, I built an asset. Now the bank is making pressure upon me that Rahul, you have to pay the loan. So I took a loan from overseas and repaying them, right? So then the minimum average maturity period would be what, beta? 7 years. You are getting my point, students? Getting everything? What we have done, students? Minimum average maturity period, right? Got my point? Is it clear? Manageable, students? Have a read. I'm taking a pause of 1 minute. Okay. Go through. You have notes, no? You got the notes yesterday only, right? ECB is there. Yes, beta. Yeah, but yesterday ECB chapter was there in yesterday's notes, right? Today I have added one more chapter, that is why it's 92 pages, right? Don't talk. Done. See, this is the minimum average maturity period. See, if you are taking an ECB from outside India, for whatever purpose you are taking, you can put and call option in your agreement, right? Put and call option will give them entitlement that they can ask for repayment even before. Call option give you a right that you can demand for payment. No, put option will give you a right that you can prepay the loan, right? But prepayment, right? or demand for prepayment cannot be made before the expiry of 3 years or any minimum maturity period that has been laid down. If you are a manufacturing company, you can take any kind of loan where the minimum average maturity period should be 1 year if the value of the loan is 50 million US dollar or more, right? Third thing is if you are acquiring a loan for three purposes. First purpose is what? To meet out your general corporate expenses, means your administrative expenses, or for your working capital requirement, that is to buy stock and all, right? And the third one is for repayment of rupee loan. Then in that case, if you're taking it from equity shareholder, the minimum average maturity period should be 5 years. If you're taking it from bank or public financial institution or any other person who is not your equity shareholder, minimum maturity period should be what? 10 years. And the last thing is what? If you are taking ECB for repaying the capital expenditure related rupee loan over here in India, the minimum average maturity period should be 7 years, right? Manageable, students? Is it manageable? Done? Go through with the notes. I'm going to ask questions from these notes. Some top points I haven't covered. Go through. I'm going to ask questions from notes. I've given the time for reading, not for talking with each other. Done? Done with reading, students? Done with reading? Done with reading? I am having certain stock deficiency in my branch or in my company. Okay, I'm having more demand of my products, but I don't have money to buy the product because I have given credit to so many customers and they are not willing to make payment on time. And because of that, my payment cycle has been disturbed and I'm not capable enough to buy more stock. So the customers are coming in my shop and I'm not able to fulfill their demands. Okay. So in that case, I have approached an Indian bank that I'm having a branch in US. Okay, I'm having a branch in US. I have approached an Indian bank branch located in US and asking them, okay, please extend me working capital loan. Please extend me working capital loan. You are an Indian bank and I'm in need and necessity of working capital loan. Can I demand for working capital loan from a branch which is an foreign branch of an Indian bank? Can I take working capital loan from them? Yes or no? Why no? Because in minimum maturity period, everywhere it has been written in second point, third point, and fourth point, right? That for these purposes, foreign branch of Indian bank cannot extend loan, right? Right? Is it written? But in manufacturing company, it haven't been there, right? Right, students? So a manufacturing company can take working capital loan from foreign subsidiary or foreign branch of a Indian bank, right? But for working capital purpose or for general corporate purpose, right? Or for repayment of rupee loan, we cannot take loan from foreign branch of an Indian bank or foreign subsidiary of an Indian bank, right? Done, students? Is it clear? Now my second question is, what do you mean by general corporate purpose? What do you mean by general corporate purpose? What is general corporate purpose? There are four purposes for which you can take loan, right? You can take loan if you are a manufacturing company, and for manufacturing you are looking for loan, right? Second, if you are looking for loan for general corporate purpose, right? Or if you are looking for loan for working capital purpose, right? Or if you are looking for loan for capital expenditure related needs, means if you are willing to repay the Indian loan pertaining to capital expenditure, right? Right, students? So when it comes to manufacturing, means you can take the loan for any manufacturing thing. You can take the loan for capital expenditure. You can take loan for the stocks. You can take loan for the work in progress and everything, right? Second, when it comes to general corporate purpose, what do you mean by general corporate purpose? This also you guys have done in CMSL. It has been clearly written that if you are raising funds from public issue, 75% of the fund should be utilized in the sole purpose for which you have taken public funds, that is IPO funds, and 25% can be spent on general corporate purpose. Tell me, what is general corporate purpose, beta? What would be general corporate purpose? Can I say that rent of the building will be general corporate purpose? Can I say that? Can I say that salaries of the person working in the establishment would come under the definition of general corporate purpose, right? Any expenses which is not directly connected with production but indirectly supporting the production, right, or manufacturing or operations, will be classified as what, beta? General corporate purpose. Is it clear? And I am only allowed to take loan for general corporate purpose or for working capital requirement, right, or for capital expenditure or for anything if I am a manufacturing company, right? But in other cases, if I am acquiring loan, I have to follow a different minimum average maturity, right? Right, students, is it clear? So what you have understood after reading this topic, what would be, not from the point of view of book, how you will consult a person. Suppose I am a layman and I am approaching you and I am asking you from you that, yeah, I am planning to take a loan from overseas. Can you please tell me, can I take loan for any term? I am like, I am willing to take loan for 20 days. Can I take? Why no? Then justify, no? So how you will explain? She'll explain like, I'm taking it like, okay, see Rahul, you can definitely take loan from outside India, right? You can take a loan from outside India. There is no problem. And your purpose is commercial. So definitely you have to comply with ECB guidelines, right? You have to comply with ECB guidelines, right? And when it comes to ECB guidelines, they are not giving you a flexibility below 3 years, right? Below 3 years, as you are not involved in manufacturing, right, you need to have minimum average maturity period of 3 years, right? So forget about it. Even if your friend or family or any other person is granting you a commercial loan, you cannot take a loan for below 3 years, right? Right, students, is it clear? Means she'll clarify it to me. She'll clarify to me what she'll clarify, student, that Rahul, minimum average maturity period cannot be 20 days, right? You cannot take loan of 20 days, right? Is it clear, students? Then I would say that, hey, I need loan for general corporate purpose. I'm stuck from so long, I could not manage to pay my rents, right? So now the landlord is coming out with eviction notice that I have to vacate the branch or I have to pay the loan amount, the rent amount. So she would suggest that, Rahul, okay, you can take that fund. If you are willing to take that fund, that is allowed even for capital expenditure. You can take loan. You can take loan for general corporate purpose. You can take loan for working capital purpose. But in that case, if you are taking it from a person who is what, your equity shareholder, if you are taking from your investor, the minimum average maturity period should be 5 years. Otherwise, it would be 10 years. Is it clear? Got my point, students? So that would be the crux, right? That is putting a kind of unnecessary restriction. Can I say that? If they are willing to give me a loan of 30 days, why they are not allowing me to take a loan of 30 days, right? So they are putting, because it is a commercial loan, right? It is an ECB, right? So ECB cannot have a maturity period less than this period, right? And ECB can be in the form of what, beta? A bank loan, or it can be in the form of issue of debenture, right? It can be in the form of what, beta? Issue of debentures, right? Is that clear? Got my point, students? Manageable? Should we proceed further with the next topic? Should we proceed further? And manufacturing company can take loan from foreign branch, but other than manufacturing company, nobody is allowed to take loan from foreign branch of an Indian bank, right? Is it clear, students? Is it clear? Now, negative list for ECB proceeds. What is negative list, beta? End use restrictions, right? What is end use restrictions? What is end use restrictions, students? Yesterday, I have explained you about the end usage, right? Did I explain to you about end uses? Did I explain to you, student, what end uses? Even if I'm borrowing loan from my wife, right? And I'm saying her that, see, I'm going to use this loan for my business. But if I'm going to use that amount in gambling, even my wife can file a suit against me, right? For recovery of loan, right? Right, students? Because if I'm taking funds from any person, whether it is equity funding, debt funding, or whatsoever funding I'm taking from any person, I should strictly use it for the purpose I have taken it, right? Right, students? I should be stick to the purpose. If I'm using it for some other purpose, it will lead to what? Would lead to what? Diversion of fund or siphoning of funds, right? Yesterday I told you, right? Right, students? So here they are saying that definitely you have to use it for a particular purpose only, but other than that you cannot use in real estate activity. So can I say that in real estate activity even FDI is not allowed, right? So ECB is also being prohibited. I cannot put it in real estate investments, right? Investing in capital market, so it's a very logical thing. Can you take a loan from bank and put it over capital market? Answer would be no, right? Even Indian loans cannot be used in stock market because stock market is a subject matter of market risk, right? So how you can take ECB and put it over a stock market, right? Third, they are saying that equity investment means you cannot buy equity share of an unlisted company by using ECB. What is not being allowed? Four things are not being allowed. First, you should use it for only the purpose for which it has been obtained, right? If you're using it for some other purpose, it will lead to diversion of fund or siphoning of funds, right? Second, you should not use it in real estate business. Third, you should not use in stock market. Fourth, you should not use it in, got my point, students? Is it clear? Now, general corporate or working capital purpose, you can only use if it has been taken for that purpose, right? Right, students? Repaying rupee loan, you can use only if it has been obtained for that purpose, right? Then on lending to others, you can lend it only if it has been taken for that purpose. Otherwise than that, if you have taken it for capital expenditure, you cannot use it for general corporate purpose, working capital purpose, or for repaying the rupee loan. Got my point, students? Is it clear? Is it clear what we have studied? What we have studied and use restriction. You will repeat the blue t-shirt. You are not in the class. Yes, you were. Tell me what we are studying. What we are studying, students? What? What is the negative list? What do you mean by negative list? Be confident, beta. What? We can't use for ECB. What? What? Be in the class, okay? Listen whatever I am explaining, okay? You tell me. Sit down. Yes. What was end use restriction? What is ECB? It's a loan, right? It's a loan that we have taken from foreign nationals, right? So can you use it for any purpose you are willing to use it? No, right? You should use it only for the purpose it has been obtained, right? If you're going to, again, you listen to me, student. What's your name? You're not listening, again, settle down. What I'm saying, can you use it the way you want to use it? No. You should use it for the stated purpose for which the loan has been taken, right? If you're using it for some other purpose, they can file a case of diversion of fund, or they can file a case of siphoning of funds, right? Second, you should never use this funds for real estate business, right? You should never use this fund in stock market, right? You should not make any kind of equity investment by using this fund. And if you're willing to use it for working capital requirement, it should be taken up for working capital requirement only. Otherwise you cannot use it for working capital requirement. If you have taken it for some other purpose, you cannot use it for general corporate purpose. If you have taken it for any other purpose, then you cannot repay the Indian rupee loan by using the fund of EC, right? Got my point, students? Is it clear? We have done with two topics today. The first topic was what? Minimum average maturity period, and second one was what, beta? Is it clear? Go through once, sit down. Go through once. If you are having any doubt, please do ask, then we'll proceed further. Today we'll finish with ECB, and after that we'll start with consumer protection law, which is an easygoing law, right? Done, students. Done, students. Done. Should we proceed further with the next topic? We have done with five topics, I think, in this chapter. We know what is ECB. We know who from whom we can take ECB, that is called recognized lender. Who can take ECB, that is called borrower, eligible borrower. We have done with minimum average maturity period, and after that we have done with what? End use restrictions when it comes to ECB. Right now, I am talking about parking of ECB. What do you mean by parking, beta? What is parking? When you are putting your asset temporarily with any person or any place, right? Like you guys are, if coming from vehicle, you must be parking your vehicle downstairs, right? So parking means what? Putting your asset temporarily somewhere, right? And they'll take care of your asset, right? Right, students? That is called what? Parking. So what is parking, beta? Parking means, if see, if I'm having an expenditure due on next January 2025, don't you think that I'll start tapping for funds from now, right? I would be like, if I would not get it on time, and if it would be delayed, then my project will be delayed, right? Right? Everyone, if even if willing to buy a home, right? I'll start loan formalities from now. Although I am planning to take a loan in the month, I'm planning to buy my home in the month of January, right? I'll start it, right? Right, students? Because sometimes formality will take much time, right? And in that case, business operations may be delayed, right? Right, students? So suppose if I'm planning to have my branch in US by October 2025, and it would take usually 4 to 5 months to get a loan from there. So I'll start immediately, right? I'll start applying to different branches of foreign bank that I want loan, I want loan, I want loan, right? And suppose my loan has been given to me on time. By the end of February, the loan came in my account, but now I am having use in October, right? I don't have use in February, right? Right, students? What I'm teaching you is parking of ECB. What I'm teaching you, student, is park. So see, if suppose I have applied for the loan in September 2024, right? And I was expecting it, I'm going to get this loan by around September 2025. But the formalities got rushed and things was all good. My all papers were proper according to their requirement, and they have released the loan in the month of January. Okay. So now I have applied for the loan in September 2024. I got the loan by January 2025, but I am having need of that fund in September 2025 or October 2025. What I'll do with that loan in that case, right? Can I put it over a stock market? No, right? Can I put it over a stock market? It is prohibited, right? Can I put it as an investment in some other company? Answer would be no, right? Because that fund doesn't belongs to me, right? And these are not, these are end use restrictions, right? But I have to pay interest from January, right? I will have to pay interest from January, right? So prudently, what I'll do, I'll put it as an FD with a bank. It is going to be a completely secured mode of putting my fund with FD, right? It is not going anywhere, right? FD cannot be a bad debt, right? Right, students? So if I want that money in Indian rupees, immediately I'll brought that cash over here in India. Means I'll repatriate that cash over here in India, and I can put it where, beta? Either I can put it as a bank FD, or I can put it in sovereign securities. Where? In sovereign securities, right? Do I am making this as an investment? No, I'm just parking it up so that I can settle down my interest obligation, right? Suppose bank is paying me 6% per year on this amount, right? And I have to pay them 9% per year. So at least my 6% interest is going to be settled down with my FDs, right? Right, student? Is it clear? So what they are saying, that what is parking of ECB? If you have obtained the ECB before the due date of requirement, right? You need to get it parked, right? Parking is only allowed in secured instrument. It is not being allowed in stock market, right? Parking means you are temporarily putting the money with the bank, or you are temporarily putting the money with the governmental security, so that you can set off your interest cost, right? What my point, students? What I'm teaching you is parking of ECB. What is parking of ECB? When the ECB seeker got the loan before the requirement date of the loan, right? The period, the excessive period, for excessive period, what they can do, they can put it in governmental securities, right? That is called sovereign securities, or they can put it in bank FD or any kind of secure deposit, which is not a subject matter of encumbrance, which is not a subject matter of, and means that cannot be pledged anywhere. Is it clear? So if you are willing to get it in Indian rupees, what would be your duty, beta? According to section 8, if you can remember, according to section 8 of FEMA, what is written? It is your duty to get it repatriated as soon as possible, right? So immediately you should repatriate it over here in India. You should open an account with a scheduled bank, right? You have to get it deposited as an FD with them, or you can get it invested in treasury bill or governmental securities issued by RBI on behalf of government of India, right? Right, students? Or if you are willing to put it over there only, you're going to use it over there, then you can put it there in their bank account, right? Or in the foreign branch of an Indian bank, right? Or you can put it on their treasury bill. Got my point? But maximum parking period cannot be more than 12 months. But maximum parking period cannot be more than 12. What is parking? We got the loan early. Now casually we got the loan early. Now what to do with this loan? We have to pay every month interest. Yeah, what can be done? Can I put it in my bank account where I am not going to get any interest like current account? No, you should not do it. You should park it somewhere, right, where you will get at least certain amount of income from it, right? If you want it over here in India, immediately repatriate it over here in India, right? Don't delay it, right? Because delay in repatriation is a violation of section 8 of FEMA, right? So get it repatriated, put it with the scheduled commercial bank FD, or put it with the treasury bill issued by government of India, or governmental security issued by government of India, right? Or if you are looking forward for spending that money overseas, put it with the foreign branch of an Indian bank. You can put it with their governmental security or any security, debt security only, not on equity investment. Debt security having good credit rating, but maximum period of parking cannot be more than 12 months. Is it clear? So logical maximum period of parking should not be. So can you take, will you take any loan which is required after 2 years and you are taking it now? Possibly nahi, right? So you will take maximum period of how many months? Beta, 12 months. Done with 6 topics. The first one is what is ECB. You are clearly know everything about ECB. Second, you know that who can take loan. Third, from whom you can take loan. Fourth, minimum average maturity period. Fifth one is end use restriction, and sixth one is what beta? Parking of ECB. Manageable students. Have explained everything. If you are having any doubt, go and go through with the same and let me know. You need not to learn the credit rating value A minus or A3 and all, right? Good credit rating is more than sufficient to write. Online students, please interact. You are getting everything. Done, students. Done, students. Done. So can I say that parking is the necessity? Can I say that students settle down? Students settle down. If you are having any doubt, do ask me, right? See, can I say that parking is necessity? Can I say that? Can I say that parking of ECB is necessity? Is it necessity? Why it is a necessity, bachcho? What you will do with ECB amount when it is not required now, right? Will you be able to put it anywhere? No, you are not allowed to put it anywhere, right? So there need to have a proper provision of parking of ECB so that if you are paying interest, at least you can earn a part of interest by putting it over secured deposits, right? What would be secured deposit, beta? Either it can be a bank FD, right? Or it can be an investment in good credit rating securities, right? Or it can be an investment in treasury bills, right? Or it can be investment in government sovereign security, right? So whether you are putting it over here in India, you should put it there only, right? Or even if you are putting it outside India, you should put it over there only, right? Got my point, student? But in any situation, in any situation, the parking period should not be more than 12. Why you are doing parking? Are you doing parking to earn income? No. You are doing parking, right, so that your money will be secured, first thing, and your part of interest can be settled down, right? Part of interest can be settled down. Your cost can be reduced because the interest would become applicable from the date of sanction, not from the date of your utilization, right? It is going to be implicated from date of sanction, not from the date. It is not, it's up to you. You can use it whenever you want, right? But the interest will start charging from the date of sanction, right? Then students, should we proceed further? The next question is about startup. Have you ever heard about startup, student? What do you mean by startup? What do you mean by startup? I'm taking it like you're aware about startup. Are you aware about startups? What is startup, beta? Very nice. In general, way we can say that startup is nothing more than a business unit which is putting money in some new idea, right? In some new innovation, right? Something new that has not been tried earlier, right? Like Ola is a startup, right? Earlier we cannot think about what having a cab by making an application over what, our mobile phone, right? Right. Zapto is what, a startup, right? We could not think about it like if we'll order the grocery, we are going to get the grocery within the span of 10 minutes, right, at our doorstep, right? It's a startup, right? Nika was a startup, right? We could not think about that there would be a unique platform which is going to be dealt in only with the cosmetics and makeup products, right? Right, students? So whenever we are talking about startup, the term startup is being defined by DPIIT. The definition of startup is not applicable in this subject. It would be there in your setting up of business, right? But as they are putting certain new or specific condition for startup funding for ECB, I'm teaching you the definition of startup as well. Okay. So if you want to be in a startup, first of all, only a private limited company or a partnership firm, only a private limited company, a limited liability partnership firm, or ordinary partnership firm can become a startup. What is the first condition, beta? Who can be a startup? Only a private limited company, limited liability partnership firm, or registered partnership firm can become a startup. Means, can I say that a proprietorship firm, a cooperative society, a trust, or a Hindu undivided family cannot become a startup? Can I say that, students? Can I say that who can become a startup only, beta? Private limited company. Is it clear? Second thing, they are saying that you can be startup only for the first 10 years. You can be a startup only for the period of first 10 years. Once you have done with your 10 years, you will not be classified as what, startup. Is it clear? The second condition. Third condition is saying that, listen, third condition is saying that either you should be involved in innovation, either you should be involved in innovation, means you are trying something new which has not been tried by anyone else before. Okay. Either you should be a tech related startup, right, which is being involved in innovation, right, or you are having capability to create a huge employment. You are having a capability of creating huge employment. So see, Zapto is not a startup because you cannot think about a grocery at your doorstep. Earlier you could order grocery by using big basket, big bazaar, and all, right? What they are having capability of creating huge employment opportunities, right? Many people are now earning their livelihood by employing with Zapto and other Blinkit and all, right? Right, students? Or third, you are having capability to create huge revenue. What? You should have a capability to create huge revenue. Got my point, students? What I'm teaching you is definition of startup, where it is being defined DPIIT guidelines, where it has been defined, beta, DPIIT guidelines. What is startup? Startup is something, we can say that even nowadays it has become a kind of backbone for Indian economy, right? Many startups are coming out, right? They are creating huge revenues. They are creating huge employment opportunity, and unemployment is the biggest problem of our nation, right? We are having huge population, and opportunity available over here in India is very less, right? So can I say that this Ola has created a huge employment opportunity for people having bike, right? Right, students? Now they are not willing to get into employment. If I am coming by bike, I am asking them, they're saying, sir, easily we could make 15 to 20,000 per month. Why to get into employment? So can I say that they have sorted out the unemployment issues with many people, right? Right, students? So first point is what is startup? It can be a private limited company, it can be a proprietorship firm, or a public company cannot be classified as a startup. The second condition is what? You can be a startup only for a period of 10 years, right? Only for a period of 10 years. Third condition, you should satisfy any one of the condition. First is you are into innovation, or you are capable to create huge employment opportunity, or you are creating huge wealth, right? You are creating huge revenue, right? Right, students? Fourth condition is your turnover should not cross the limit of 100 cr. Your turnover should not cross the limit of 100 cr. Is it clear? Your turnover should not cause what? Cross the limit of 100 cr. This is the fourth condition. Okay, and the fifth condition is, beta, you should be a new entity. You should not be created by demerger or amalgamation. Got my point, students? You should be a newly registered entity. You should not be resulted by any demerger or amalgamation or acquisition. Got my point, students? How many points are there, beta? 5 points. The first one is what? Only certain entity. Second, only for 10 years. Third, capability to create employment, revenue, or innovation. Fourth condition is what? Your turnover should not be more than 100 cr. And fifth condition is what? You should be a new and unique entity. You should not be resultant of any demerger. Got my point, students? Is it clear? Online student, you should speak up, right? You should at least type, right? Right, students? Done, students? Is it clear? So if these conditions will be satisfied, a business unit will be classified as what, beta? Startup. And they'll get certain tax benefits, they'll get certain kind of funding benefit. Government is supporting the startup a lot because they are resolving the central problem of our economy, that is what, beta? Employment generation. Got my point, students? So government is giving certain kind of tax benefit under section 81B or something of Income Tax Act 1961. Even they are getting a kind of funding from central government. Okay, kind of subsidies are being extended to them because government want to support whom? The startup. And generally all startups that are working over here in India is working aggressively. For first year they are booking the losses, right? All startups initial years are booking losses, right? They are aggressively spending on marketing and brand promotion, right? And once they'll come out with the public issue, they'll start earning, right? So for initial 5 to 10 years, we can say that they are generally in what, beta? Huge losses. See Paytm, Byju's, they are in huge losses, right? Because aggressively they have spent on what, beta? Advertisement and marketing, but now they are into so much huge loss that even they are in a situation of getting closed, right? Or that getting taken over by some other player, right? Got my point, students? Is it clear? What we have done is startup ka definition done. Manageable, student, startup ka definition. Now they are saying that if the ECB, the startup is planning to acquire ECB, beta, will you suggest any kind of loan to startup? Will you suggest any kind of loan to startup? See, beta, I should take loan only if I am having stable income, right? Because if I am taking loan, suppose I don't have any job, okay, and I am getting into only assignment where for few months I am earning 2-3 lakh rupees, and for few months I am having no income. Should I take home loan? Answer would be no, right? Because few months I would be capable enough to pay my EMI, but few months when I would have no income, I would not be capable to pay my EMI. My CIBIL score will be destroyed. Even whatever home I have bought, they may take over that house from me, right? Right, students? So can I say that that is being applicable on micro level will be applicable on macro level as well, right? So can I say that if a startup, can I say that startup would have no kind of certainty about revenue? Can I say that they may have few months where they will make huge profits, right? But they may have certain situation where they would book the huge losses as well, right? So I would to never recommend a startup. They should better dilute equity by approaching shark, high net worth individual, AIFs, alternative investment funds, venture capital fund. They should focus on dilution of equity. There is no problem on diluting equity. At least you will have no financial burden to pay, right? Right, students? Initially, see, all startups are doing what? If you are approaching Shark Tank, what you are approaching for? You're approaching for dilution of your equity, right? Take my ownership and give money to me, right? At least I would have no burden to pay you interest. I would have no burden to pay you, repay you the loan, right? Right, students? So initial year mein what would be recommended, beta? Only equity dilution. What would not be recommended? Energy, student. What would be, why it is not being recommended? By, if you are not having regular income, how you can expect to take loan? If you'll take loan, you would be in a big trouble, right? Maybe the situation is that you may be subject matter of winding up. They'll file a petition of winding up against you, right? That close down this business unit, we want our money back, right? Right, student? So why to get into such kind of unnecessary situation? Better to dilute your equity, right? Although dilution should be conservative, but dilution is always better than taking a loan, right? But many startups over here in India may seek loans, right? Basically technology based startups, because Indian people are quite reluctant, Indian banks are quite reluctant to lend money to them. They can approach for ECB as well. Got my point, student? So there are certain guidelines. Got my point? So I have taught you first what is startup. Then I have given you an opinion why startup should not prefer to have loan, better to dilute equity. Then now I am teaching you the certain condition that is specifically applicable on startups only. Is it clear? So they are saying that startup is an entity recognized by central government, by DPIIT. If they are willing to take ECB, minimum average maturity period should be what, beta? 3 year, right? They can only take from FATF compliant country, right? Right, students? They can take from Indian foreign branch of Indian bank, right? Or overseas entity invested in by Indian entities. See, what they are saying that startup can take ECB. There is no problem on taking ECB. Their minimum average maturity period should not be more less than 3 years. Third condition, they are saying that you can only take ECB from FATF compliant, same like IOSCO and FATF. Here only FATF they are saying, right? But they are saying that even you can take loan from any foreign branch of an Indian bank, even if they belongs to non-FATF country, right? Because that is your bank, right? Right, students? Exclusion. They have written exclusion. No, means you can take loan from any foreign branch of Indian bank or foreign equity holder, even if he is not what? FATF compliant, right? Right, students? Is it clear? Is it clear? You can issue convertible instruments, right? Non-convertible instrument, including preference shares. What you can issue, beta? Preference shares, right? Even preference share issue will lead to what, beta? ECB. You can take loan. You can issue non-convertible, optionally convertible, or partially convertible preference shares. Means preference shares can be convertible. Generally, convertible instrument would lead to FDI. It is not leading to what, beta? ECB, right? But here they are saying what? You can issue convertible preference shares as well, right? You can take loan on foreign currency, INR both. Maximum permissible loan limit can be 3 million US dollar per financial year. That is important, right? Maximum permissible loan can be what, beta? 3 million US dollar, right? They cannot take more than 3 million US dollar, right? You are free to determine the cost, all in cost, okay? And use only, you can use it for business related expenditure, otherwise that will be a diversion, right? Right, students? You can get it converted into equity in future. There is, if you are not able to repay them the cash, you can convert it into equity, right? Right, students? You can put security or bank guarantee for the loan, right? Right, students? Got my point, students? What they are saying about startup? only one point I thought, 2 points I thought is quite very relevant. One point is maximum permissible limit would be 3 million US dollar per financial year. Second, there is no all-in cost restriction. You can determine all-in cost in negotiation with your lender, right? Right, students, is it clear? Third point, you can issue a non-convertible instrument, but preference share can be convertible as well, right? Right, students. You can take from FATF compliant entities, right? You can put security of movable, immovable property, or any corporate guarantee will be allowed, right? Parking of ECB, reporting requirement, conversion of ECB, and other things need to be followed. Is it manageable, beta? Startup related condition. What I have taught you is startup related conditions. What all are the conditions? First, they can take it from FATF compliant country. Point number one. Point number two, they can put security of movable, immovable property. Even you, they can put bank guarantee or corporate guarantee, right? For taking the ECB. Maximum permissible ECB can be 3 million US dollars. All in cost, there is no restriction. You can mutually determine it, right? Right, students. And use, you can use only for business related expenses, not for any other expenses. That is going to be applicable on everyone, right? Right, students. And you can convert it later on if you are not capable enough to repay them cash. You can convert it into equity, right? Right, students, is it clear? Hedging and all I'll not teach. Just remember, they would have certain hedging requirement. What kind of requirement they have to meet out, beta? Hedging means to cover up the risk, okay? To cover up the risk related with exchange rates, they should also hedge. Is it clear? Got my point, students? What we have done is ECB for startups. Getting everything, students? We have done with, I think, 7 points, right? We know what is ECB. We know from whom we can take ECB. We know who can take ECB. We know minimum average maturity period. We know end use restriction. We know parking of ECB, and we know about startups. Why startups should not take loan or avoid to take loan, or if they are willing to take loan, even ECB options are open for them. So can I say that by opening ECB option, government is supporting startups, right? Startups are being supported because they are even allowed to acquire what? ECB, right? If they are not getting funds from over here in India, they can take loan up to 3 million US dollar from another country, right? Right? So can I say that even it is an ease of doing business? Can I say that, beta? Even this mechanism is what? Ease of doing business, that we are supporting you, we are giving you a fund, but if you are not getting any fund from India, you can take or raise funds from overseas in the form of ECB. Is it clear? Is it clear? And we know that when it comes to repayment of ECB, RBI cannot put any kind of restriction, right? Right, students? Amortization of loan, right? Go through, beta, and if you are having any doubt, please ask. Give me this. The all in cost, see, when it comes to all in cost now, I'm telling you, listen, when it comes to all in cost now, I told you that RBI has put restriction on all in cost. What is all in cost? Like if you're taking a loan from India, even you have to make certain expenses, right? Like loan processing fees you have to pay, right? Brokerage you have to pay, right? If you are taking a loan through a broker, right? Right, students? There are certain expenses involved when it comes to taking the loan, right? Loan processing fees, stamp duty, other charges that has been taken up by your bank, or even sometimes brokerage would be involved, right? So when it comes to ECB, how much expenses is permitted to be made in order to acquire loan? Can you pay 20-30% commission to acquire the loan? That is not permissible, because ultimately it will create a kind of pressure on RBI, right? Because this expense is going to be meted out through taking the funds from RBI only, right? That is through taking the exchange, right? So what they are saying, practically they are saying that maximum 300% expenses are allowed. How much expenses are allowed? 3%, 300% of issue expenses related with governmental securities over here in India. Is it clear? If government is coming out with issue of security and they are spending 1%, then in that case you can spend up to 3% on acquiring the EC. 100% of what ever is being spent by whom? Government of India. Is it clear? So how much they are putting it, like maximum 300 points are allowed when it comes to taking ECB, but that 300 point would be counted for expenses related with issue of governmental security. Getting my point, students? Getting my point? It is little technical. Got my point? If government is coming out with issue of sovereign security, they have to make certain expenses, right? Whomsoever is coming out with issue of security have to make certain legal expenses, right? So can you take as corporate expenses for the base of that 300 points? No, right? You have to take base as what? Governmental security related expenses, right? How much you can spend of it is 300 points above the governmental expenses. Is it clear? So that can be maximum up to 3%. I'm expecting, like government is spending, if they are raising fund of 1 crore, they are spending 1%, which is equivalent to around 1 lakh rupees, right? So 1 lakh rupees they are spending, so definitely you can spend what? Maximum 3 lakh rupees. Is that clear? Got my point, students? That is called what? All in cost. Is that clear? You know, when it comes to CS ka syllabus, specifically ECB or CMSL, if it would have been text, we can get it connected, right, with practical life. These all, until and unless you guys are going to get it done in practical life, these are far away from your approach, right? This all in cost, this end use requirement, this MAMP, right? Although how much I'll post, it doesn't matter, but still, until and unless you'll get into that scenario, you're not going to get it connected, right? But try to make it easy as much as we can. Got my point, student? So I am taking it like, if government is coming out with issue of public issue of security and their expected expenses is 1.5% of the issue size, means how much they are spending, beta, for each 100 rupees they are spending 1.5 rupees, right, for raising that 100 rupees, right? So if you are raising fund by issuing ECB, that fund, how much you can spend? 4.5 rupees, right? Right, students? Is it clear? 300 points over and above the cost involved over here in India is permissible for raising the EC. Got my point? Got my point, students? Is it clear? Online student, you should interact. Done? Go through. For ordinary company, it is what? 300%. For a startup, they can determine their own rates, right? They can determine it mutually. It has been written, right? There is no bar on is expenses related with ECB, they can mutually decide it with the lender. Getting my point, beta? Go through, students. I'm going to ask few questions. Okay? On this. That if government is coming out with whatever expense they are doing, I think the government can spend 100 points or and above the expense. I'm taking like, suppose government is 1% or 100. So each student get logically whatever we are spending over here, we have to spend more over there. That's logical, right? If I'm buying a water bottle from here over here in India, I'll pay 20. But if I'm going to use, I have to pay rupees for the same. Right? Right? So definitely there would be an inflation in a country which is capitalist, right? From where you are raising. They are giving you a flexibility. See, you are spending 1 rupees for raising loan over here in India. You can spend up to 3 rupees for raising. But my point, still they didn't get, if you are spending 1 rupee to raise 100 rupee ka loan over here in India, right? You have to spend over there some amount as well, right? Can you spend 1 rupee? Yes, you can. Can you spend more than 1 rupee? But that more than cannot be more than. Got my point? And second thing, they are saying that we are not putting bar on startups. Not putting bar on startups. If the startup wants, they want to, they spend 4 rupees, 5 rupees, 7 rupees as per their rate. Right? Right? For a startup, no limit is applicable. For other than startup, maximum is is it clear? Got my point? I hope you Done, students? Done. Should we repeat startup? Should we repeat startup, beta? So what we have done when it comes to startup, there are certain entities can be classified as a startup. They can be a private limited company, they can be a limited liability partnership firm, they can be partnership firm. Other than these three entities, no one can become startup. When it comes to startup, maximum for a period of 10 years, they can be a startup. Third, they should have no turnover more than 100 CR, right? Their turnover should not cross the limit of 100 CR. Fourth, they should not be a new or unique entity. They should not come up as a demerger, as from demerger or split up, right? And they must be involved either in innovation, but it is not required that they should always be involved in innovation. They may be into employment generation, or they may be into wealth creation, right? If all conditions will be satisfied, you will be classified as a startup by DPIIT, and you will be eligible for tax benefit, you will be eligible for subsidy benefit, you will be eligible for funding benefits. Whatever benefit that has been given or extended by Government of India, Ministry of Finance, you're going to get it, right? For a period of first 10 years, right? Over here in India, maximum startups are aggressively spending on their brand building. So much digital marketing they are doing, monthly crores of expenditure they are doing to build their brand, right? So nowadays the startups are having losses in few years. So it is always not recommended to take debt, better to take or split equity, right? Dilute your equity and take fund. But still, startup may have problem to get funds from here in India, right? Because Indian investors are conservative, they are not aggressive, right? So they may find it difficult to get loan from here in India. That is why they are being permitted to raise ECB. But they can raise ECB maximum up to 3 million US dollar per financial year. They can raise ECB in Indian currency. They can raise ECB in foreign currency. That is not a problem. If they are raising uh, uh, ECB in Indian currency, hedging is mandatory for them, right? Minimum average maturity period should not be less than 3 years, right? Fifth, all in cost, there is no limit imposed by the regulation. They may determine all in cost mutually with their lender, right? Further, they can take loan from any party who is located in FATF territory. Other than FATF territory, you cannot take loan, right? Right, student? You can keep security of immovable property, movable property, even you can give bank guarantee. But Indian bank cannot extend bank guarantee to them. Is it clear? Only foreign banks can give them bank guarantee. Indian banks are not allowed to give any kind of guarantee for ECB to startups. Is it clear? Done, students. And conversion of ECB into equity is allowed if you are unable to repay, right? Even issue of convertible preference share will be treated as what, beta? EC, right? Right, students? Done with what? Startup. Take care. Now should we proceed further, students? ECB by oil marketing company. What I'm starting, beta? How many points we have done, students, in this chapter? 7 points. What was the first point? What was the second point? What was the second point? What is the recognized lender? From who you can borrow, right? Third one is, what is the eligible borrower? Fourth one is, what should be the minimum average maturity period? 3 year. In other case, 1 year, 5 year, 7 year, and 10 years, right? Right. Next, you cannot use in certain purposes. Next, if you raise it earlier but you are having utilization later, better to park. But parking should be in secured instruments, not in unsecured instrument. Next, they can take loan. There is no problem on taking overseas loan, right? Now starting with beta, what ECB facility for oil marketing company. What I'm starting with is ECB for oil marketing company like BPCL and all, right? Which is ONGC and all, right? Which is involved in the marketing of what beta oil, right? So public sector oil marketing company have a special provision for fundraising through ECB purpose. Working capital. Oil marketing company can borrow money from foreign investor to meet their day-to-day operational expenses. Means they cannot take capital expenditure, right? They can take it only for working capital requirement, right? Minimum average maturity period should be 3 years, right? Can borrow from all recognized lender globally under automatic route. Beta, see, when it comes to ECB, there are two routes. How many routes are there, beta? Means if you want to raise ECB, FDI, or you are willing to make ODI, there are only two routes. Two routes means if you are coming under liberal route, okay, liberal route means you need not to follow the rigid rules. Then in that case, you can take ECB and later on after obtaining the ECB, you have to report the RBI. Means there is no need to take approval of RBI before raising ECB. What I am teaching you is routes of ECB. How many routes are there, beta? Two routes. One is automatic, the another one is approval. One is automatic, another one is approval. One is automatic and another one is, can I say that if you are coming under ECB approval route, you have to first take the approval of RBI, then only you can make a loan application, right? If you are having no approval of RBI, you cannot take loan, right? That is called what beta? Approval route. Is it clear? What is the approval route? Any party who is coming under approval route cannot raise the ECB until and unless they will get the approval of RBI. Is it clear? An automatic route may you are not in a requirement to take any approval of RBI. You can take the loan and later on report it to RBI. They see I have taken a loan from outside. Is that clear? That is called what beta? Auto. And this automatic route and approval route even would come on FDI and ODI. If you are willing to take equity investment, then you are coming under automatic route. Means you can take investment and later on you can report it to RBI, right? But if you are coming under approval route, right, then first you have to take the approval of whom? RBI. For example, if you are willing to raise ECB from Pakistan, taking it, it is a part of FATF. Can I say that RBI will put it under approval route, right? Right, students, can I say that? Because we are not in a good political terms with Pakistan. So definitely if you are taking ECB, those who are already borrowing from many countries, you are going to borrow from them, you have to go through with the approval route, right? Right, students, is it clear? Means you cannot take loan without taking the approval of whom? RBI. Is it clear? Got my point, students? Is it clear? Girl with black top, please you explain whatever I have explained about approval and automatic route. I feel you are not in the class. Beta, we'll cover Kavi Bharti. We are going to cover each and every past year paper in the class itself. Is it clear? So don't worry about it. Generally, case-based question institute used to ask. Okay, I have put case-based question in my notes as well. Right, students? I have put the case-based question. So question like that is being asked by institute. Is it clear? Yeah. Only for ECB? Is it only for ECB? For FDI and ODI both, right? All three, there are how many routes, beta? If the sector is liberal, then which route will be there? Automatic. If the sector is rigid or the country is rigid, then what is automatic route? You can take ECB and later you can report it to RBI. What is approval route? First take the approval, then raise the ECB. Very good, beta. Sit down. Done. Is it clear? So first thing is what? Oil marketing companies are allowed to raise ECB. Generally in India, all public sector undertakings are involved in oil sector, right? Like BPCL belongs to government, right? Aapka ONGC belongs to government, right? So public sector undertaking who is in oil marketing activities can get into raising the ECB. They can opt only for working capital requirement, means to buy the raw oil, right? Right, working capital requirement, stock buying, right? So they can use that fund only for buying the raw oil, right? Right, students. The third thing is what? Third thing, they can go ahead with Automatic route. Fourth one is what? Minimum average maturity period should not be less than 3 years. Getting my point, students? Is it clear? Now they are saying that no mandatory hedging. Hedging is mandatory for whom? Startups. If they are raising ECB in Indian currency, they have to go for hedging, right? But for them, hedging is not mandatory, right? Now, no individual limit. There is no cap on how much each oil marketing company can borrow individually. Overall ceiling, the total borrowing across all oil marketing company under this facility capped to US dollar 10 billion. Okay. Individually, there is no limit, but all oil marketing company, right, working over here in India can maximally raise how much amount, beta? 10 billion US dollar, right? 10 billion US dollar is the limit, not applicable to one individual OMC, right? It is applicable to all OMCs, right? But that 3 million US dollar was the individual limit of startup. That 50 million US dollar was the individual limit of manufacturing company. This is not the individual limit. This is the limit applicable to all OMCs. Is it clear? Getting my point, student? What I'm teaching you is, when it comes to ECB guidelines, generally common ECB guidelines are applicable on all companies, but for startup, there are a specific guideline. For oil marketing company, there is a specific guidelines, right? Right, students? Is it clear? Now, OMC must have board approved procedure for managing foreign exchange risk and prudent risk management. They may go for hedging, they may not go for hedging, but they need to have a risk management system to manage what beta fluctuation in the value of foreign exchange, right? What beta fluctuation. Let me simplify this. Hedging. More many a times it is coming. Suppose if I have taken a loan, when the rate of dollar was 78. Okay, so I'm going to get the payment at the rate of 78, right? Right. Now the rate has become 82. I have to make the repayment at the rate of 82, right? Right, students? Means I would be in a situation if the value of rupee will decrease in overseas market. I have taken a loan of 78 lakh rupees, but I have to pay 84 lakh rupees other than interest, right? 4 lakh I have to pay additionally because the rate has been fluctuating. You got my point, student? Suppose he is a person resident in US. I asked him, please give me a borrowing of $1. He has given me borrowing lending of $1. I have got $1. I have get it converted over Indian currency, and I got 78 rupees. Now, when he called me, Rahul, please repay my $1. He's saying that, Rahul, please repay my $1. Now I went to authorized bank. He's saying that pay 83 rupees, then I'll pay you, give you $1. So can I say that, and other than interest, whatever interest he's charging, now for the same amount that I got 78 rupees, because of exchange fluctuation, now I have to pay 83 for the same. This 5 rupees will create a kind of risk upon me, right? That I am borrowing less, but I have to pay extra other than interest, right? If it would have been in Indian currency, do I will have any kind of risk of currency fluctuation? No, right? If I have bought 100 rupees, borrow 100 rupees from him, and after 2 days he's asking for return, along with interest, I'll pay only 100 rupees, right? But as he is located in US, I borrowed $1 and I am repaying the $1, but the same dollar is costing me 83 rupees, but I have borrowed 78 rupees, right? So this 5 rupees is causing what beta risk for me, right? This 5 rupees causing what beta risk for me, risk of what? Currency fluctuation. So they are allowing us that you can get into derivative contracts in order to manage that currency fluctuation. Is it clear? So better what I'll do, I'll get into a hedging contract or a derivative contract where I'll get into an agreement with an unknown person that he is going to give me a dollar in 78 rupees in future, whatever would be the market price. Right, students? Is it clear? So hedging is essential. Why? Because of currency fluctuation, right? Got my point, students? What I'm teaching you is oil marketing company manageable. So should we conclude oil marketing company? What was oil marketing company, beta? All the companies which are public sector undertaking involved in oil marketing activity has to follow a specified guideline. First guideline state that they can opt for automatic route. There is no need to take any approval before taking ECB. Second condition is what? Minimum average maturity period should not be more than should not be less than 3 years. The third one is what, beta? They can raise any amount individually, but maximum amount for all marketing companies should not be more than 10 billion US dollar, right? Next, they are not required for hedging. They may go for hedging, or they may have their own internal risk management system, right? Students, is it clear? We have done with what? Oil marketing company as well, right? Right, students, go through with the same, and if you are having doubt, please ask. Technical topic is, or manageable, will be, you will be able to write the answer. We are preparing for exam only. I think institute should inculcate all these topics in professional when the students have done with article, right? Then you will have clear, right? But still it's technical. You're not feeling well or what? So how many topics we have done, beta? Although it's technical, but I'm trying my level best to make it manageable. Is it manageable, student? Are reply, student? Is it manageable, conveniently manageable to write answers at least? I'm clearing each and every aspect. I was taking it like I am not going to cover hedging. There is no need to cover hedging, but I have covered it, right? So that you will have clear idea that if you will get into a company as a company secretary, you will have an idea that you should suggest the board of director to adopt hedging mechanism, right? Because it is beneficial to get into hedging if you are raising what? ECB. Otherwise you will be in big loss because of currency fluctuations, right? And to protect your company from losses is your duty, right? Right, students? So first topic that we have done was ECP, energy, students. The first topic was ECP. The second topic was, the third topic was, very nice. Fourth what topic was, very good, beta. Fifth one is end use restriction. Sixth one is parking of ECB. Seventh topic was, and eighth topic was done, students. Manageable, all 8 questions. Now I'm taking a pause of 2-3 minutes, then I'll start the topic because I think recording is